Hello everyone.
Howdy everyone.
This is Robert.
And this is Rich.
And we're here to talk about yoga, and eventually we're going to talk about the Yoga Sutras later, but we wanted to get through the word yoga, what the word yoga means, and then we'll talk a little bit about the history and the writings and that kind of
background.
Yeah. Okay, so the word yoga means yoke, yuj.
Stems from the perhaps seed syllable yuj, Y-U-J, which is to yoke, to bring together, to combine, to unite.
And to combine what?
Well, supposedly mind, spirit, and body, but we should have the understanding that they're not even separate in the first place. They're always together. But just in brief, by propensity, by habitual patterns, by learned patterns, we have created a mindscape that says that these things are separate. So yoga is the art or the practice, the science to bring these three supposedly disparate things back together. But they're not separate. So let's just make that clear that they're not really separate.
It's an illusion. The separateness is an illusion. And the yoga helps to break down that illusion and bring
back to your natural state.
Back to your natural state. We'll splice that out.
So this yoga that we're going to talk about, bringing together again, and basically working through articulating what it is to remove the illusions that we have in relation to this separation of mind, body, and spirit. So we're going to talk about this and articulate about the Yoga Sutras primarily, but we're going to continue to talk about some of the background of the Yoga Sutras, beginning with the history or the origin of yoga.
Okay, so I think we should start with the Vedas. And the Vedas are a set of books that were written about, historians date them as far back as 5,000 years. Somewhere between 3,500 and 5,000 years is pretty well accepted. And they were, some of the history on how they were written, I find most interesting, in that these ancient Brahmins went to the mountainous regions near where they lived and meditated, and these writings came to them through deep extended practice, deep extended meditation, and I remember a story being told about how when the society was getting sick a lot, and they needed health, and more health in the society. They were becoming this very expansive metropolis, you can imagine, in the Indus Valley. And the Brahmins went to the mountains to meditate on how to bring health back to the city. And this is where Ayurveda came about. And Ayurveda is the science of life, science of health, healthy living. And that was one of the things that happened is they got all this knowledge came up through meditation. They brought it back down, that information back down, just in verbal form. They didn't write anything down at the time. Really, it was just passed on through verbal. So there was so much information that they got from these writings, or I'm sorry, from this meditation, that they brought it down to the city, and through explaining the long process of health, they forgot a lot of it. So they went back up to the mountains, meditated on it again, and then started writing it down. And I think that's where some of the first writings of Ayurveda came from, this process, and they realized like it was so expansive and so multifaceted. They had to start writing it down. But that's one of the stories about the Vedas, and Ayurveda in particular, the science of life and health.
Well, in relation to the Vedas, the Rig Vedas, these writings that were compiled by the Brahmins to systematize their religious life, their practice life, chants, mantras, the way to live, prohibitions, and things that you could do. They did this systematically so they could have a way of following this through, because much of the teachings were oral, as Rich said, passed down from a knowledgeable teacher or guru down to their students. And so these were compiled so they could actually not lose these so-called threads of knowledge, which is what we can put in the Veda. The word Veda itself means knowledge, or that which is to be known. So they systematized these, and through this long process of not only written knowledge but experiential knowledge, they incorporated this. Aside from the fact that they meditated and some of this reached them through meditation, there was experiential knowledge that was derived from countless teachers who would impart this to their students and to the people that they were helping through these practices and through their religious practices and rituals, which is what the Vedas pronounce.
And I guess after some time of developing rituals, there was a section of the population who started to ask the questions, why do we need to do so much ritual? Why can't everyone experience this altered state of consciousness?
Why do we need the Brahmins?
Why do we need them? So these people who ended up becoming the forest philosophers, the rishis, the seers,
the hippies,
hippies of the time. Yeah, they started to move into the forest and practicing their yoga, their form of meditation, without all the intricate ritual. And in doing so, the Upanishads developed. So this is another book of writings that were the essence, or the distilled Vedas. Right? Sometimes I call it the cliff notes of the Vedas.
The cliff notes of the Vedas. Yeah, the distilled essence. Yeah, the Upanishads are derived from the Vedas, but they are after the Vedas, and in relation to this we have the word Vedanta, which means after the Vedas. So the quintessence of the Vedic thought, as compiled in the Upanishads by the rishis, who, as Rich said, are less worried or concerned with all of the complex rituals, but more concerned with getting down to the business or the essence or the practice, which these Upanishads are the distillation of this knowledge. And directly and indirectly through the Upanishads, and prior to that the Vedas, we have various other seers, and in particular Patanjali, who in about 400 BC compiled this Vedantic thought into a series of slokas or sutras, threads or statements that are now known and have been known for a long time as Patanjali Yoga Sutras.
So about 195 to 197 Yoga Sutras can be found in, and within the Yoga Sutras, early on we have the Eightfold Path of Patanjali. And most Westerners are familiar with the Eightfold Path, and I think it's interesting to note that this is just one of the sutras, this Eightfold Path, and which includes yamas, niyamas, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So those 8 principal disciplines make up much of Westerners' idea of yoga.
So Patanjali, he did these Yoga Sutras as a way to help free ourselves from that so-called illusion that we have of this separation of body, spirit, and mind, to clear away the detritus, you could say, maybe the false notions or what we think of ourselves in the nature of reality. And in a systematic way, these Yoga Sutras were compiled in 4 chapters, and we're going to work through these with you all, and hopefully clarify and lead us not into confusion.
Yeah, but to deliver us from confusion.
Deliver us from confusion. Very fine.
All right. Okay. That's it. See ya.
Bye.